Awesome. No, that's such a wonderful point, Dr. Pinky. And then on a related note, I would like your thoughts on a topic, that has sparked a lot of debate recently. Both Mr. Narayana Murthy and Mr. S. N. Subramaniam, they have commented on the idea of 70-hour and 90-hour work week. The remarks have ignited very heated discussion nationwide, and mainly about the balance between productivity versus what well-being means in corporate India. How do you think this conversation ties into the larger mental health narrative?
First of all, the point that you have just talked about, two big names, Mr. Narayana Murthy and Mr. Subramaniam. If you really hear them, there's a difference in what they both are saying. Very, very different. I would really want all my audience, whoever is listening to me, to go through what is spoken by Mr. Narayana Murthy and what's spoken by Mr. Subramaniam. There is a difference. Mr. Narayana Murthy is mostly talking about that when it comes to working, it has to come from within. You see? So whether a person wants to work 90 hours or wants to work 70 hours should come from within, which I completely agree. Right? So that depends on that person's own needs, the personality, and what is required to be done from his end, from that person's end. But what Mr. Subramaniam is saying is very different. He is trying to say, ki, what will you do on a Sunday, looking at your wife or staring at your wife for such a long time, which is something which he feels is that why should you waste time looking at your wife? Where I can say that when you take a gap or an off on a Sunday, it is not just looking at your wife or a wife staring back at you. It has something more to do.
Absolutely.
Now, to make you understand this, Shashank, and all the audience who's listening to me, Mr. Narayana Murthy, when he was saying it is about the person, how the person wants, whether the person wants a 70-hour work or 90-hour work should come from within. Here, I want to put a point across to all people who are hearing me. As a human, we have a structure. Now, I would like to compare our structure with, say, maybe a vehicle, a machine, a car. If I, make this car, suppose I have the best of car, if I'm using a Mercedes and I drive the car for maybe 30 hours, 90 hours, or maybe more than that, I don't think so it is a problem in making it run that 90 hours, okay? But the problem is that machine needs rest.
Yes.
Okay, so making it run is, of course, up to the owner of the vehicle that, I want it to run. So I'll make my Mercedes run for maybe 3 days at a stretch or 4 days at a stretch. But after that 4th day, my car will give up.
Right.
Because the engine might get heated up. Now, this portion will be understood by anybody because it's a vehicle, it's a car. That understanding is for a machine, kind of a iron and steel machine. But we have that understanding there. But what about our brain? What about our brain? Our brain equally needs a rest.
Absolutely.
And research, after a lot of research, this had been understood that after a 5-day or 6-day of grueling week, you need a 1-day gap, and that becomes a need for the brain to rejuvenate. Now, if the rejuvenation comes from me staring at you, Shashank, or you staring at your wife, big deal. It's all about what we need, and we need to rejuvenate. And there is no one should be commenting on what we are doing in that rejuvenation time. For example, if you ask me when I go back home, I like to go and cook. My husband says, aren't you tired? I said, no, this is what gives me happiness. This is not making me feel tired. It is making me feel refreshed. So to be refreshed, if somebody wants to just stare at his wife, so be it. But what's more important here to understand is that 1-day break is important because that gives a break, a distraction, a kind of a rejuvenation because you're doing something different. Now, why they found that, the 2 days break or 1-day break has to be given, why it was researched like this is that we all are different, unique personalities. Somebody may be like Mr. Narayana Murthy, somebody may be like Mr. Subramaniam, somebody may be like A, B, C, D, whoever. But each person cannot be granted a leave according to their time period. Like suppose Shashank has a ability to work for say 100 hours, or dash somebody has an ability to work for 80 hours. So we can't go into person specific. Okay. Therefore, after a lot of research, they made it like 2 days or 1 day gap after 5 days, because 5 day is a good enough time when you are getting grilled and you are in that level. So as Mr. Subramaniam has correctly pointed, how much can you stare? And then somebody tweets in saying that how much can we stare the screen? It's not about the staring, it's about the long hours that we are doing one typical kind of job. So anything which is, doing it consistently for a longer period, the brain needs to break off and do something else.
Correct.
So 5 days, 6 days, and after that, you need a break to do something different. So if anybody is really understanding what I'm saying, it's the need. The brain needs that. That does not mean that we'll have to sit, doing nothing. But it's somebody's wish. Somebody doesn't want to do anything. But frankly speaking, Shashank, our brain is never at rest.
Yeah, that's true. But again, like you truly mentioned, like a senior person like that, maybe their form of rest or their work schedule would be different. But then imposing that on, on the organization, making it an ideology for the organization is not fair, because
Absolutely. Because each is unique, like each personality is unique, right? Somebody can work for 80 hours, somebody cannot work for 80 hours. That's their uniqueness of their brain, and we do need to respect that. So we can't go into tailor-made needs of each person. Therefore, the corporates or the organization or the schools have come down to giving a 5 day, like an average it out. So as an average, they are saying, okay, 5 days or 6 days and 1 day break. That's how the world has devised this 1 day leave in a week. That's how it is.